That's a beautiful thing.
It sounds like a supervillain monologue, but it's not. It's a trader from Enron singing disco while the state of California literally goes up in flames. This isn't a metaphor. This is the sound of the American power grid being held for ransom. Welcome to Commerce History. Today, we aren't looking at spreadsheets, we're listening to the tapes. I'm going to play you the full recordings of traders laughing about Grandma Millie losing her pension. And then I'm going to show you why the exact same thing is about to happen again in 2026. Only this time, it's not Enron, it's artificial intelligence. You think you know the Enron story. You know the accounting fraud, the shredded documents, the guys in suits going to jail. But that's the boring part. That's the compliance part. To understand how they actually broke the physical world, you have to leave the boardroom in Houston and go to the West Power Desk in Portland, Oregon. This is where the compliance circuitry was removed from the human brain. Late 90s, California passes Assembly Bill 1890. They called it deregulation. The idea? Break up monopolies, lower prices. The reality? They built a trap. They capped the price you pay at home, but let the wholesale price of power float freely. It created a system where utilities had to buy high and sell low. It was a math error worth billions. They split the grid into two brains, the PX, which was like a grocery store with price tags, and the ISO, the traffic cops. The ISO had one job: keep the lights on. If the grid was short, the ISO had to buy power. At any price, no negotiation. Enron looked at that panicked traffic cop and didn't see a regulator. They saw an infinite money glitch. To exploit this, you needed sharks. Enter Rank and Yank, Enron's review system where the bottom 15% of employees were fired every 6 months. Imagine sitting at your desk knowing that if you don't make more money than the guy to your left by Friday, you're evicted. This turned the trading floor into Lord of the Flies. It stripped away empathy and left only pure, distilled greed. The king of this jungle was Belden. He wasn't a jock, he was a policy nerd, a former researcher at a government lab. He treated the California energy laws not as laws, but as software code. And like any hacker, he knew that if you input the right garbage, the system spits out cash. He didn't just break the rules, he gamified them. Quick question for the comments. I was reading through our 2008 crash video, and user Hedge Fund Tears asked why middle management always takes the fall. Well, Belden went to jail, but be honest, if you were in a rank and yank system, fired if you don't earn, would you break the rules, or would you pack your box and leave? Drop a comment. I actually want to know.
They're fucking taking all the money back that you guys stole from those poor grandmothers in California. Yeah, Grandma Millie, man. Now she wants her fucking money back for all the power you've jammed right up her.
You heard that right. Grandma Millie. They gave their victim a name. They pictured a sweet old lady on a fixed income, and they laughed about jamming the price. Well, you heard him. This destroys the "it was just numbers" defense.
Burn, baby, burn. That's a beautiful thing.
A wildfire shuts down a transmission line. Firefighters are risking their lives. Homes are burning. What does an Enron trader see? He sees a supply constraint. He sings disco because the fire just made his P&L go up by $1 million. That is the sound of a soul leaving the body.
Just cut them off. They should just bring back horses and carriages. Lamps, kerosene lamps.
They wanted to send the sixth largest economy in the world back to the Stone Age. Why? Because volatility is profitable. Stability is boring. To keep the volatility high, they developed a playbook of cheat codes. These weren't just vague crimes, they were specific algorithms. They gave them names that sound like they were written by a 14-year-old on 4chan. Let's break down the three most infamous exploits: the Death Star, Fat Boy, and Ricochet. First up, the Death Star. The grid pays you to relieve congestion, like a traffic cop paying you to stay off the road. So Enron scheduled energy to flow in a giant circle from California to Oregon, Oregon to Nevada, back to California. The grid computer saw this massive flow and screamed congestion. The ISO would pay Enron a fee to cancel the schedule to relieve the traffic. Enron takes the fee, but here's the kicker. The power never existed. They were getting paid to solve a traffic jam that they created with phantom cars. Pure profit, zero energy. Next, Fat Boy. Imagine reserving every table at a restaurant for a wedding of 200 people. The restaurant panics, buys extra steaks, calls in staff. Then you show up alone and say, "Wedding's off." The restaurant is desperate to sell the food before it rots. You offer to buy it for pennies. Enron told the grid, "We have huge demand. We need 1,000 megawatts." The ISO panic bought power. Then, in real time, Enron revealed the load was fake. The market flooded with excess power, crashing the price, allowing Enron to buy it back cheap. They faked an appetite to crash the kitchen. Finally, ricochet. California capped the price of in-state power at $250, but imported power was uncapped. So Enron bought power in California for $250, sent it up the wire to Oregon, turned it around, and sold it back to California as imported power for $1,200. Same electrons, just a different passport. It's easy to laugh at the names, but remember Grandma Millie? When Enron played these games, the lights actually went out. In San Francisco, the zoo lost power. Zookeepers were scrambling with buckets of warm water to save tropical fish. Gorillas were trapped in enclosures because hydraulic doors wouldn't open. Traffic lights died at major intersections. Accidents spiked. Elevators trapped people for hours. In hospitals, backup generators kicked on. But for people on home life support, a 2-hour rolling blackout isn't an inconvenience, it's a life-or-death gamble. Every time the lights went out, the spot price spiked. Enron traders described it as scooping money into buckets. They extracted $45 billion from the economy. They bankrupted PG&E. They got the governor recalled and replaced by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yes, the Terminator became governor because Enron traders wanted to hit their quarterly bonus. So, what happened to the architects? Belden, the mastermind, pled guilty to wire fraud. He cooperated, forfeited millions. But here's the scary part. Belden wasn't a monster, he was a product of the system. Enron proved that if you build a game that rewards sociopathy, you will create sociopaths. You might think, we fixed the loopholes, the grid is safe. Wrong. We are walking into a new energy crisis that looks terrifyingly similar. But the players have changed. Instead of traders creating artificial shortages, we have AI hyperscalers creating real ones. Right now, in 2026, the demand for electricity to train AI models is exploding. Data centers are projected to consume massive chunks of the US grid. And just like Enron, the tech giants are starting to game the system. It's called grid bypassing. Tech companies are striking deals to plug data centers directly into nuclear plants. They are taking the reliable baseload power off the public market. It's the modern ricochet, sequestering the good power for themselves and leaving Grandma Millie with the volatile scraps. We are seeing ghost loads, developers booking power capacity they don't even need yet just to hoard it. It's Fat Boy all over again. The mechanism is silicon instead of shell companies, but the result is the same. A fragile grid, a massive wealth transfer, and you in the dark. Enron was the Death Star. AI is the supernova. The rank-and-yank culture hasn't disappeared, it just moved to Silicon Valley. If we don't watch the wires, history isn't just going to rhyme, it's going to amplify. Burn, baby, burn isn't just a lyric, it's a warning. This is commerce history. If you want to know about the other time a company faked an entire industry using salad oil,
Click this video right here. It involves the mob, a swimming pool, and American Express. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.